Good afternoon. Buenos tardes, le de Dios. Father Daniel here, just wanting to go live to share an important announcement, as I promised on this 20th of January that I would share with you an update whether we are opening or finding another date to reassess the whole situation. And I've decided that seeing a reasonable downward trend, even though it's not perfect and not certainly in what makes me completely comfortable, I want to be clear about that we will reopen our church come February. What does this mean? This means that on February 6th and 7th, we will be having our first public masses again since October. The times for those will be the 5:30 normal on Saturday and the 9 a.m. That's a new time for Mass on Sunday. The 9 a.m. will be done bilingually, with the homily done in Spanish as well, and parts of the prayers in Spanish. So just be aware of that. It's not at 8:30, and there's nothing at 10:30. Of course, at first, the reason for this is to reassess, to see how many people will come back anyways during this time, because it's always a toss-up and not something we can easily are able to predict. And so I hope that you are enjoying this news. I hope it's joyful for you. Whether you feel comfortable coming back now, or whether you say in my reservations or in whatever your particular situation that you would feel more comfortable waiting a little longer. That's fine. But hopefully this announcement gives you hope of a great future to come, not just in our faith life as Catholics who are practicing the faith, gathering around the Eucharistic altar, but in general, because it means that the pandemic is slowly, and is it ever so slowly, coming to an end. There's light at the end of the tunnel, thanks to the vaccine and the medical community and all the essential workers keeping us going. So again, here are the facts, friends. February 6th and 7th, that's Super Bowl weekend. I know you can remember that one. That will be the first weekend of public Mass again at our parish. There will be a 5:30 on Saturday and a 9 a.m. bilingual on Sunday until further notice. If I see that the crowds are not able to take, we need more masses, we need more availability because there's just too much, too many people, feel ready to come back, then I'll add another Mass as we've had before. And more on that will come when the need arises. During daily Mass, or concerning, I should say, daily Mass, what's going to happen there is the first daily Mass will take place February 2nd. Same schedule as always, except the only difference is the Tuesday 5:30 p.m. Mass will be in the main church, because the capillas will still not be used during this time, as they are just too small to accommodate even a reasonable crowd with the 6-foot distance in mind. Friends, a few things to consider when you come back, if you decide to come back. The first is this. Please, please, please listen to the mayordomos. They have specific instructions. You probably remember if you came back in October. They will have very specific instructions, and it's important that we all abide by them for everyone else's safety and our own safety, or we simply cannot have public Mass. I know everyone did a wonderful job back in October, both you who are coming to Mass and our wonderful mayordomos, our volunteers, the cleaning crews, all of it did a wonderful job. And I know they will do a wonderful job once more. But that only works as good as we're willing to play the game. We're willing to go by those rules to keep people safe and to abide by the statutes that have been given to us by our lawful government and by our Archbishop. So keep that in mind. Secondly, if you're coming back to Mass, bring a mask. We may have a few extra on hand, but bring your mask, just like you would anywhere else these days. Third, friends, the bathrooms will not be available, okay? Not during this time, but keep in mind that Mass will not be very long, okay? We want to limit exposure, and we want to be smart about this, and so according to Archdiocesan guidelines, the masses usually won't go past 40 minutes, if that. So keep that in mind. No public restrooms right now, okay? I think those are about the main things to remember. Now, say you're one of those who does not want to return, and you say, I don't feel comfortable. The first thing you have to remember is your archbishop and your pastor dispenses you, okay? You are dispensed from your Sunday obligation. Remember, a dispensation doesn't mean that there's no more Sunday obligation. It means that that law, and it is a law in the church, out of our obligation of love for Christ and his body, the church, that is each other, that it's dispensed. It means it's relaxed, okay? That's what it means. And so being reasonable and very wise and very charitable, the Archbishop continues to dispense that. So you are not mortally sinning if you do not attend Mass during this time, because it's not your fault. Also, if you do not return to Mass, know that you can still follow us. I will still eventually be live streaming the Mass, hopefully very shortly, maybe even by reopening. I will live stream the 9 a.m. Mass on Sunday. That will always be streamed, or until it's streamed, recorded. And so you are always able to find a Mass here on Sunday virtually if you still feel comfortable staying home and you'd like to pray in that way. You know that you can have that, as well as the other content, which will continue. Eventually, after some time, some of the content online will probably go away. I don't know if I have time to sustain everything that we do with also being open, but you never know. In other ways, it just may grow. You never know. I'll leave it at that. I don't know exactly what else I'll cover. There'll probably be more videos along the way with specific instructions, especially as we near the beginning of February. Nevertheless, I just want you to keep in mind that this is where we're going, and these decisions were made with a lot of thought, with a good deal of discussion, with prayer and discernment, after great dialogue with my staff, with my pastoral council, with members of the finance council. Many of you have called in and expressed one way or the other. And, you know, its leadership is one of those things where it's never quite easy to always make a decision, because someone will always not be quite happy with that. And that's a burden I'm willing to bear by just the fact that I am your pastor and administrator of this parish. But know that for those who do come, we will take every precaution, as we did back in October, to be safe and to provide a reverent, a beautiful, and of course always relevant, as if God were ever not relevant, but certainly a relevant and relatable liturgy for us to throw our hearts into and to be caught up in God's dialogue. And so, know we're praying for each of you, and I hope you continue to pray for me and the staff and our lay ministers. This is quite the feat to undertake anytime you do something like this, because there's a lot of things that are extra to think about. But nevertheless, I pray that that this news finds you well and hopefully gives you hope. God bless you, dear friends. And if you do have time, here in a few minutes on Zoom, I sent out that link on Facebook, but in case you're not on Facebook, I will publish it later. We're going to just have a quick short interview, myself with Mr. Kino Chavez, our Finance Council Chair, and we are going to talk about the parish's financial status, its needs, its what we're looking at, what we've seen during the pandemic, just to give you a sense, as we would every year, on how the parish is doing, your parish is doing financially. And so if you're able to jump on that Zoom meeting, I would love that. God bless you, and I do hope that you're well, and let's pray for each other. God bless.